first barn I worked at for my 500 hours was Foxfield Farm. They're a small farm located in Bohemia, New York, on Long Island. I was known as barn staff or the assistant manager. There were only Tracy and myself who actually worked there. It was her family barn, so only the two of us did the daily duties, so it was pretty hard on us. I did daily barn duties like feeding, turnout, hay, water. I also mopped their stalls. We did medications and we treated some ailments and injuries. Cooper has really bad thrush, so we treated that daily. He also has fungus on his back cannons, so we had to scrape that off and put some ointment on it daily as well. Keeper had scrapes on his hocks. He had some cuts on there from the outside paddock, so we put some ointment on that as well, and that cleared right up. The three horses that were there were Keeper, Monty, and Cooper. Cooper and Keeper are chestnuts. Monty is this gray that you may be able to see in this photo. I also lunched the horses daily, and we worked them out and exercised them when the weather permitted. They only had an outdoor arena. It's in the next slide. So dealing with the weather was pretty hard. If it wasn't good weather, we couldn't work them and we couldn't lunch them. But they did have trails in Belmont Park, and that was just across the street. So we carefully took the horses across the street, and there were plenty of trails to exercise the horses out there. These are some pictures. They did have a small outdoor arena, so that was very helpful. They set up a few jumps. So Cooper was kind of my summer project that I got to work on. He was a very old, unfit horse. So lunging him every day, working on him, working with him. He was very front heavy, so trying to get him round and collected was probably one of my hardest things to do before having all my educated Del Valle riding classes. So Tracy is the girl at the bottom right, holding the little puppy, and that's Monty with her. So she's the barn owner and manager. So it was just me and her splitting up the duties each day. I worked here for around 300 hours for my 500 hours. I worked here the summer of my freshman year. She's a family friend, so that's how I got to know this barn. And then I helped her each day over the summer with whatever she needed, doing all the barn work. Some personal characteristics I had for this job was you have to be very aware. As I said, it's only me and her, so sometimes she wasn't there while I was there and vice versa. So you have to be very aware of what's going on with these horses. They do have small paddocks attached to their stalls. So they didn't get much turnout, but they can go in and out of their stall into their little paddock whenever they wanted to, overnight as well. So some of them could get feisty out there and could hurt themselves and get some scrapes. So you needed to really be aware of what was going on with them. Make sure if you saw something, you treated it or let the other person know. Some of my strengths while working here, being available was a really big one. She trusted me so much because she left me alone at this barn, dealing with all the things that we had to deal with. She has a full-time realtor job, so being able to rely on me for whenever and whatever was needed was really helpful to her. Some weaknesses was teaching. She had a young girl around age 9 come every Thursday for lessons. The little girl rode the Keeper, the horse Keeper. And she was a beginner rider. She walked trotted. Her big problems was steering and keeping her position while she was trotting. So while I was there, Tracy let me help out with teaching and helped me teach the little girl. And this was a weakness because I had no prior teaching before this. I didn't get to take instruction at Del Valle yet. But we worked on steering with her and having her really good outside rein while she was turning. We did a lot of circle work. And then with her position, we wanted her to use all her muscles and keep straight up as she posted. Over the summer, I worked with her a couple times, and she did begin to get better. So I thank Tracy a lot for giving me that opportunity. Del Valle helped me because of my riding classes, exercising those three horses, mostly Cooper and Keeper. I had prior riding experience, but Del Valle really dug deep on the core aspects of riding and being centered and getting the horses collected and rounded. So this really helped out with Cooper because he, like I said, was very front heavy. So I needed to get him back and be able to collect himself. We worked mostly groundwork for the first month, and then we did do a couple jumps. He did get very much better as time went on. We worked really well with him. He gained a little muscle as well, which is always good. What I learned from working here is that owning a barn is not as easy as I thought it was. She's a very, very busy woman, having a full-time job and owning a barn with 3 horses, doing lessons, trying to keep the horses well. I also learned how to manage with just an outdoor arena. Weather isn't always the best, so you need to be prepared to do whatever and maybe get the horses a day off, or maybe ride or exercise in the rain, or depending on all that weather. The second job I worked at was the Del Breeding Center. I worked here for my sophomore and junior summer. I was considered a summer barn staff. The first summer I worked, there were 5 of us, and the second summer I worked, there were only 4 of us. So we were there all the time, every day. It was a lot of work. Again, we did some daily barn duties like feeding, stalls, turning out, bringing in water, hay. We did get a lot of vaccines here, so that was a great learning experience. Horses got Banamine, breeding horses, some of the mares had to get progesterone and Regimate and all those medications. So we did give all those ourselves. We collected the stallions there for their semen to breed the mares, which we also did. We foal watched if a mare was due for foal soon. We would sleep in the barn and foal watch. Some of that would go on for weeks. We helped with the foaling, and we also, like we said, we foaled out the mares. We would make sure that the foals were healthy. We did the whole 12-hour exam with a manager at the time. We also learned how to freeze brand, which was really amazing. All their babies get freeze branded. This way they can have a number, and then they go off to the yearling sale. Here are some pictures. They have the stocks in the middle picture right there. This is where you put the mare in to either palpate them, breed them, to ultrasound them to see how their ovaries are looking. There's a couple baby pictures, foal pictures. Pebbles is up in the right corner. She foaled out my first summer working there. We also have some vaccines in the upper left-hand corner, rabies, botulism. And then the bottom left-hand corner right here is their shed row. It's a quarantine area for any new mares coming in or any extra space. One of the stalls is usually used as storage. This barn has about 60 horses. They have, well, at the time they had 3 studs. Right now they have 4 studs. But they have this stud barn that holds 4 stalls. They have brood mares, and they have foals, and they also have yearlings. So it's a huge age group. So you really have to be aware of what's going on at all times. And it's a lot of horses to work with just the 4 to 5 summer staff that we had. I worked here again the sophomore and junior year, the summer of my sophomore and junior year, for about 200 hours. Some personal characteristics I gained from this was to learn how to be independent. My first summer working there, the manager, we didn't really have a manager, but we did have a manager. She wasn't always around, and there was complications. They were looking for other managers. So the staff really learned to rely on each other and do well with time management and need to know what needed to get done at the right times. And also learning to be more aware, keeping an open eye. Because there's horses of all ages, the young ones, the yearlings, tend to get themselves into trouble out in the runouts. So they're always coming in with new bloody bruises and cuts and all sorts of stuff. So you need to be aware of that and know how to treat it, and then treat it properly, quickly, so that they can heal. Some strengths I had was time management. Being that the staff solely relied on ourselves ourselves and each other. We had to really focus on what tasks needed to get done, and then we had to divvy them out throughout the day. Important ones first, obviously, and just being able to do certain things at certain times together really helped. A weakness that I had working at this job was I was not as well knowledgeable as the other staff there. They were mostly animal science, equine science students, so they went through the whole breeding process already and really knew what to do down there. I only took horse breeding management so far when I worked here, so they really helped me with learning, and it was a great learning experience. I learned a lot about the foals and the breeding process and everything like that. Del Val helped me because with breeding management, that class really helped me learn about the foaling process and how to manage the brood mares, how to manage the stallions, what to look for and what to do in certain situations with breeding and the brood mares. They get different vaccines than your regular horses would, and you have to make sure that nothing drastic is happening to them while they're pregnant, because you don't want them to abort the baby. Practicum also really helped me with this job because time management. You need great time management skills to work here. You're here all day, long hours, a small amount of staff, so you really need to be able to rely on each other and have time management to know what needs to get done at what times. What I learned from this job is how to be independent. Working here with a small amount of staff, like I said. I also learned a great amount of with the standardbreds, because the breeding center is all standardbreds down there. We got to prep some yearlings for the standardbred sale, the Harrisburg yearling sale. So that was a great opportunity. I learned so much about the standardbred industry, all the pacers and trotters, and I learned some of the DVC's breeding center's horses' histories, and we had a horse, Zachary Hanover. He was a stud here for a while. They retired him 2 years ago. But it was awesome to look back in the files and look at his earnings and look at his records. He was a great stallion that we had here. My career goals. When I came to Del Val, I thought I would want to be a trainer and or a barn manager. They've changed though. Working at all the different places that I've worked and taking the classes that I've had to take here at Del Val, I learned that I don't necessarily want to be a full-time trainer. I wouldn't mind being a barn manager, but working at the breeding center really opened my eyes to that whole industry. So right now I'm really looking forward to hopefully having a job in the breeding industry, either be a broodmare manager or work with the foals. Some long-term goals I have are to eventually work for a high-class breeding facility. I'm going to try and get into that by networking, working at different farms, trying to remain with my contacts and try to get my way into the breeding facilities. Short-term goals I have right now are to work at a summer camp. I interviewed with 2 camps right now, and I can have the position of head wrangler in the one camp, or the other camp I could be equine director. So I put my applications in, I have both interviews in, I'm just kind of waiting to hear back at the moment. But those are 2 great jobs for the summer, about 4 months long, in some higher up positions where I can get to meet people and learn so much more dealing with little kids and horses and how to manage everything. So I'm really excited about those opportunities that I've gotten. And I've gotten all these opportunities from Del Val, and I am so grateful for that. Thank you. I would ask you for questions, but as you know, I'm not there.